Good morning, peace and blessings. Happy Monday. I'm the Moon Mama. How y'all doing today? Well, we are in the window of a new moon in Virgo, and we are also in. I think we're in like an American holiday. I'm not even sure which one it is. Right? So. Good morning, you all. I've never been much on holidays. I've always been aware of the consumerism and the manipulation connected to holidays. So it's just never been a thing that I have had like a reverence for. So whatever the holiday is today, is it Memorial Day or Labor Day? I'm not sure. But one of the things that I'm really aware of in our Western world is that we've created all of these holidays. And I'm sorry, one second. Okay. We've created all of these holidays and celebrations that are really rooted in war and harm and predatory behaviors and practices and things like that. So I just do my best to hold my own meaning for these types of days, you know. Hey, Reverend Celeste, how you doing? How you doing, James? So I do my best to hold my own energy around all of these sort of fake holidays because they're not really for celebration. They're like to get energy to keep the machine moving, right? So the more we can literally begin to question ourselves, what does this mean? Why am I doing this? Where did this come from? What is this day about? Like, where did it really come from? It's really important to recognize that, you know, we were born into something. We were born into something that was already in place, and the people that created it were they were masterful in how to organize the country and the systems so that they stay on top and others are beneath them. And it's really a slave system that we live in. And you know, that's one thing hearing a black woman say that, but everybody's in it, right? Everyone's in it except those who really are the ones who have the power. And the way to really begin to undo that is through our minds, right? And Mercury governs Virgo. And Mercury is about analyzing. It is this opportunity to really analyze what we're involved in. And we're having a new moon in Virgo. And for those of you who are Virgos, like I know my friend James is here, he's a Virgo. I'm a Virgo. And happy belated birthday, James, also. But the Virgo energy is discriminating. It's analyzing. It's critical. It's perfection driven, right? So it's literally doing the research to understand, thank you so much, how you're using your energy. How are you using your energy? Like really, you know, so like when we come into experiences of election, right? And we are giving our energy to people believing that they are going to do what we desire, that is a way that our energy is being siphoned off and used in ways that do harm. And then they go take those, we vote, right? And we vote to do this with the money and then they go and they do things in Afghanistan, which are harmful, and they do things you know what I mean? Like all that sort of stuff happens, and it's our responsibility. Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry, my cat went in the kitchen, and there's a rule in this house. The cats don't get to go in the kitchen. So I had to get her out. And so all of that energy and that collective energy that we create as a country, then they take that energy is power. That energy is a real thing. Like we just don't recognize that we have power in the way that we do because the systems, like they've reorganized the way we relate to time. They reorganize the way we relate to nature. They reorganize the way we relate to the things that would have us really be able to experience our power in a really real way. So because we do these things like vote, and we don't spend time in nature, and we shop in grocery stores, and we sit under all these lights, we don't really fully know who we fully are. We don't know how our energy really functions if it was holistic, if it was not being siphoned off by politicians and systems that are, it's like vampiric energy, right? Like they're like vampiring our energy. So the thing about Virgo and the Virgo New Moon is this opportunity to really get clear about what you're involved in. You know, really see, there are levels to this thing, right? So for me, during this time of year, I get to really look back. One of the things that's important about Virgo is looking back to see how you have progressed. Many of us often don't take account of our wins and the progress that we've made because we live in a country that's constantly propagating that you're not enough and you don't have enough and this is wrong and they're out to get you. And if they're just like because that messaging is propagated to be constantly dissatisfied. It's like seeking and never finding. That's the message of this environment that we live in, right? So it's our responsibility to go back in our lives and see, you know, how did you win? What worked out? You know, like, so for me this year, you know, I created a business that's thriving. I have built a new platform that really honors who I am and the path that I'm walking, and that allows other people who are deeply committed to their own spirituality and evolution at this time to join me or to participate in the ways that feels right for them. I've been able to heal my body. I literally healed my sensual sexual energy because it was miswired from when I was a child and exposed to sex really early. And so I've been able to heal that. And when we heal our senses, like our sensory body, how we feel, then we can actually begin to reprogram ourselves. So I've been able to reprogram myself. So it's important that we take inventory of how we have made progress. That's what the Virgo energy is about. This is the time of year that's a harvest, right? And the harvest means looking at, like, separating, you know, the chaff from the wheat, right? Like what is good and what is bad. What needs to go back out so that we're going to replant it or throw it away or use it for something else. And what will we use for the rest of the year going forward? That's the energy of Virgo, really understanding this sort of very particular experience of being discerning, being discriminating in your energy field, you know, like your thoughts. So which thoughts really serve you? Which thoughts are taking you back into old patterns? Which feelings are bringing you back into old childhood traumas and re-traumatizing you? And which feelings are taking you into new ways of being? The thing about Virgo is that Virgo is the place where heaven comes to earth, right? And heaven is a state of consciousness. And heaven is not like just feeling good. Heaven is really just this understanding of the system that we're in, right? Literally recognizing that we are one with God. We are co-creators in this system. So what our thoughts, what our choices, the people, that all of that is about our creation, and it is our responsibility to create our own unique heaven. Nobody can create it for you. Nobody can take it from you. Nobody can, you know, there's this idea, like I often hear people say, you know, keep the negative people away, or the negativity. No, the negativity is a part of the heaven experience. We really need to understand that polarities and oppositions and you cannot really have heaven if you're at odds with anything. Right? So the things that trigger you are a part of your heavenly experience because they purify you. They give you the opportunity to see where you really are with yourself. And you need that. You need opposition to help you discover where you really are needing to grow, or where you really get to grow, where there's more for you. So for me right now, oh gosh, the energy for me right now feels very subtle but intense. it's been really interesting. I've been having these small irritating things go on. Like the other day, somebody broke the water off of my spigot. My water bottles were outside and somebody broke the spigot off. And I was like, wow, that's so interesting. Okay, that's interesting. And then like just little things, like this morning, the man from Whole Foods was coming to deliver my groceries and he called and he's like, I can't get in. I was like, did you use the code? He said it doesn't work. And then I was like, okay, I have to get dressed, and I went to go put my clothes on, and then he was ringing the doorbell because it did work. He hadn't tried it. You know what I mean? Just little, like that's Virgo in the details. Like really you want to get in the details and look at the tiny little things, because those things, when you don't pay attention to them, those things really grow. So I'm looking at the places, you know, like last night I was doing meditation and looking at the places where I have really kind of stepped over my pain, stepped over the things that have been really hard for me and caused me to really feel very vulnerable and almost like I'm not gonna make it, right? Like, so yesterday when I was doing my meditation, the thing that came up for me was how painful it was to go through a divorce. Like my divorce, I could cry right now, just how much pain that was, like the disappointment, the you know, a family coming apart, what it meant to be a mother who was a single mother, and co-parenting, and the pain and the sadness of that. But it's important in Virgo that we acknowledge everything, right? You don't get to run from the stuff that's uncomfortable. You don't get to blame anyone else for it. You got to take responsibility for absolutely all of it. So when I'm looking at the pain, the things that have been really painful to me, I'm not looking at them from the perspective of somebody did something to me, that, you know, what they did was wrong. I'm looking at it like this was just a human experience that was really, really hurtful. That it was really heartbreaking. It was really sad to go through something that really disappointed me and questioned my faith, made me question my faith, made me question, you know, my constitution as a human being, made me ask, you know, am I really up to something good, right? Like this is the work of Virgo, like really getting into the nitty gritty of how we show up and participate in life, really taking responsibility. And so questioning like the choices that I made and how they may have been hurtful to my ex-husband, and the choices that he made and how they may have been hurtful to me, but not from a place of blame, from a place of really looking at it with the intention of seeing, what did I learn? And then what does the pain feel like, right? Like that's the thing that's really important about Virgo, is that we don't get to be in this human experience without pain and without discomfort. All of that is a part of the process. And when we know that, we can do it with willingness, with self-love and compassion and self-care, and we can do it trusting and knowing we have faith, and that on the other side of it, we will be better off, right? Like literally on the other side of this, I'm gonna be better for it, you know? And so I encourage you to go through the experiences in your life that have been really challenging this year. We've all been COVID, you know, the loss, the grief, and when you can envelop the grief, envelop the loss, you know, that shit will knock you over. It really will. You will fucking fall on your knees and beg for mercy. But that's the point. That's the point of it. The point of it is for you to be humbled and to open up your heart to the divine. Open up your heart to the majesty of the universe and realize that you can be transformed through the darkest, most painful, most negative experience. You can discover the jewel of who you are through those experiences. And so we have to be willing to re-qualify them. That's what Virgo does. It re-qualifies it, it renames it, it repurposes it for a way that will really help us move ourselves forward. So this new moon energy in Virgo, whew, this new moon energy is really giving us an opportunity to come into our real power. Because the sun is in Virgo and we're in a new cycle and we get to really come home to ourselves. And the transformation is something that will strip us clean and make us pure, because that is what Virgo is. It's purity. It's the virgin. She belongs to no one but herself. This is not about sexuality. This is not about who you're having sex with. This is about really taking full responsibility for yourself and being really loyal to yourself. And in the end of it, you get to have a grateful heart. You really get to be deeply grateful. Because the universe will restore you. The universe will restore you. If you are willing to be restored, if you are willing to be grateful for the things that broke you down, for the things that brought you to your knees, if you can be grateful for those things, or willing to be grateful, if you can do it, the universe will show up. You know, and I'm not saying fake it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying trust it. Trust it. And believe that it was all for something that was necessary. That it was to really purify you, to make you better. You know, and when things get stronger, they get stronger in the fire. They get stronger in the fire. So allow yourself to stand in the fire of your own consciousness. And allow yourself to be purified. And ask your higher self, the God inside of you, to renew you. And to restore your wholeness. And let the grief just wash through you. Let the grief just wash through you. Oh, my goodness. So I'm going to say a prayer. Oh, Heavenly Father, Mother God. Oh, I come before you, the temple within my heart. The temple within the hearts of each and every one of us who are here listening within the sound of my voice. I trust and know that the path that we have walked this year has been one that was filled with fire, filled with renewal, filled with purpose, filled with mission. We are ready. We are ready for the work, for the service that only each and every one of us can do in our unique way. We are standing humbled and open and trusting and knowing that there is a universal purpose in each and everything that has broken us down. Each and everything that has brought us to the purest part of ourselves, to know ourselves as God, to know ourselves as divine, to be united with the force of the universe, to be renewed by the power of the sun and the moon and the planets. Oh, dear Father, Mother God, I ask for strength and courage, trusting and knowing that it is here right now. I ask that I can see it, that I can feel it, that I can know it within myself. And I'm not asking to some fucking sky god. I'm asking to the God and the power that is within me, that is within each and every one of us that is listening. I know that we were made for this time. I know that every experience that we have encountered has brought us to the perfection of who we are here to be. Trust in the light that is within you. Know that you cannot be led astray if you are listening and asking and discerning. Ask to see clearly. Ask to hear powerfully. Ask to have your heart be opened. Ask to know the truth. Oh, and surrender and watch the magic unfold. Trust that the magic is right here, right now, and it will unfold And so I trust and know that people's bodies are being healed miraculously. I trust and know that people's relationships with themselves are being restored. I trust and know that people's ancestors are surrounding them and covering them with grace and power, and that we are being lifted up in the essence and the energy of God's love and the goddess that is being renewed on the planet right here, right now, and that the miracles that will unfold will astound us. The miracles that we will experience will open our hearts and restore us into the truth and the power of who we truly are. That nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. Nothing is ever lost. That we are restored to the glory and the goodness of the light that is within us, that was never put out. Maybe it was blocked by doubt or fear or worry, but it was never diminished. And so for that I give thanks. I lift up the power of the universe and the saints and the ancestors who have gone before us. I give thanks for each and every one who has come before us and made clear the path so that we can see the way through. Ashe. Ashe. And so it is. Let the light shine. Let the way be made clear. Let your body be renewed. Let your mind be renewed. Let your heart be opened. Let the gratitude pour out. And so it is. Oh. All right, you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful new moon. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Peace and blessings.